beached whale on the...
I'm thankful that God provides.
Professionals will be investing right now to help serve churches.
And let's talk about ministry, and let's talk about how we can serve God and do what God has us to do.
This episode here is the things we want to try. So most of them we haven't tried yet. I'm sure one of the guys is going to share something that they do just as a wonderful resource for you. It doesn't necessarily fit in this episode, so I'm going to encourage them not to. But I know they're going to do it anyway. And it might be something that they already do and they're just going to try and adjust, or they're looking forward to improving it for it to have a different function or an additional function there. I'm Craig Lawson. I'm a program director here. I plan most of summer. Stephen next to me, he'll introduce himself. He helps me with that. And I've been here for about 7 years and looking forward to continuing to grow program and do unique things. Izaac, introduce yourself and we'll go down the line, end with Stephen here. Just what do you do and where do you work?
All right, Izaac VanderSchel. I'm the program director at Peniel Bible Camp in Ohio. I've been there since about 2002 and full-time since 2011.
I'm Eric Herb. I'm at Northland Camp in northern Wisconsin. I'm the camp director up there. Was in program for a long time. So, yeah.
And I'm Stephen Watson here at Ironwood, and I'm one of our program directors. I do youth, families, and schools. And in the summer, I help Craig out with a lot of the platform and program side of things. And then I'm in charge of our junior high track in the summer as well.
So we have lots of ideas. I don't know, whoever made this episode, I don't know what they were thinking to put 4 program guys up on a stage and then expect something productive to come out. But we're gonna try. We're gonna put our best foot forward, hopefully, and see what we do. So we'll just share a couple of ideas first. We'll open it up. If you have a question about something specific that is currently being shared, I will try and look around. If you want to catch my eye, I will hopefully scan the audience here and there. And you can go ahead and ask that question if I catch your eye. But after we do a couple, I might open it up to your questions or maybe trying to, hey, we did that, don't do it. It was the worst experience of our lives type of comments. And then we'll just keep rolling through. I think if I'm guessing, each of us have somewhere around 4 or 5 different ideas. I doubt we're going to get to all of them. But we'll get started. So I'm going to throw Izaac under the bus here. Izaac, if you want to get us started. And we'll comment on them right away.
And then we'll move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the title of this is what? Things we want to try and program, and who knows if they will work.
Who knows?
Who knows? So the thing I would love to try, and I have no idea if it would work, is actually to have a program assistant. I have no clue. I have no clue what that's like. And I would love for it to work. That's not actually what I'm saying. I'm not trying to recruit anybody right now. But it is challenging being the only guy and doing all the program and all the setup and all the tear down and then doing everything else as well, with program. So one of the things I've really tried to do in the recent past is if I'm developing something, I want it to be, because we're so limited, to be able to reach a couple different either age groups at the same time or something like that, and really focusing in on what juniors can do, because I think a lot of things are designed for teens, and then juniors kind of try to do it, and maybe it's not designed for them. So I've really been trying to think of things that in the future that would be definitely for juniors, but teens could enjoy too, but that juniors could do, like they could actually do. So I'm going to throw one out here just because it's been something I've thought about a long time, and I've not really done it yet, but we have a spot that it could be done. And it kind of went along with a session or a tour that was just done that I didn't get a chance to go to, the shoot, no shoot thing. I would love to do a tactical course with airsoft guns. Juniors can do that. It'd be no problem. Just put some goggles on and go, and they're timed. They're going, you have your different stations, you have metal targets, you have different types of things. You could have balloons, whatever, and they're going through. I think that would be a blast, and that's not a lot of, when you have paintball guns, you have a lot of maintenance, you have a lot of extra cost. You get a couple airsoft guns and you're good to go. And I already have one of my sons, so I can use that one. And he's getting ready to go to college, so no big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be something I would do.
That is on our list, and it was almost built this year here. So if you see Mr. Ben McGee, he will quickly say, yes, I'd love to not do paintball and jump to airsoft. They're easier to maintain, as well as easier to clean up, all of the above. So if you haven't jumped into airsoft yet, and you think paintball is just too expensive, airsoft might be where you're at. So.
We have an area set up for airsoft/paintball, and when rental groups come in, they only use airsoft now. That's just what they do.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt as much either.
If you say so.
If you say, okay, maybe it will. So yeah.
I don't do it. I just set it up.
Yeah. Well, sometimes as a referee, you just get hit in paintball. It's the worst, right, Steven?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And if you're Scott, you get shot in the camera all the time.
All the time. So, great fun there. Eric, what's on your list here?
Well, him talking about airsoft and stuff, it spurred an idea that we're working on. We have a bunch of tires, just used tires, and we don't know what to do with them. And I remember seeing somewhere just building a tire castle fort thing. And
I like that tire castle fort thing.
hey,
That's
these are
wonderful.
things we want to try. We
Oh, yeah.
haven't fine-tuned them, obviously.
No, we
So-
just got rid of a whole ton of tires, and now I wish we didn't get rid of them.
But, so my idea is we do have a paintball course, and, I really personally don't like paintball because of the mess, and just it's hard to keep that crisp looking. I like things looking crisp, and pallets get put out there, they get, destroyed, and you have rotting boards everywhere. And so I'd like to build a tire fort on either end of the paintball course. And I've already started recruiting some volunteers, some churches that are really into paintball, saying, hey, I have all these tires. I have an idea. Would you guys be willing to put that idea together and design and own that project? And they're already recruiting help for that. And I'm like, I gave them the idea, and so we might have a tire fort thing this summer. But that's something we're working on.
We put tires around our pedal kart track when we put it in, and you go to a local tire shop, they've got to pay to get rid of them.
Yep.
They'll let you take them for free, and you can have as many as you want. The only thing that we have to do is we have to fill them in because we have way too many wasps. They love the inside of tires, and they love kids. So we have to fill our tires in when we
Humans in general, they love. So
I run faster.
that's a good point.
We actually, our paintball course, one of our courses is tires and tunnels. And so we have all kinds of different elements that are used with the tires as well. But one of the things that has helped us with our big buildings of them is local farmers. Because when they're getting rid of their tractor tires, they're no use to them, but they create great obstacles for that. And for the airsoft, one of the things that we were playing around with was actually using our paintball courses both ways and being able to see if it works before we actually have to put a big capital investment into building something just for that. So.
Yeah. All right, Steven, you're up.
One of my things that I'm really looking forward to is with the junior high track, we actually take time to do what we call a living parable, where we take time to teach different things through games. And we also do different rotations of what we're teaching them on just basic things that junior hires need to know as the world is going after them. And junior hires oftentimes get slid through the cracks of junior camp or teen camp. But one of the things that I've been really burdened about is the discipling end of things on social media, as there are all kinds of different things right now that a lot of those kids have social media. They have social media accounts, but oftentimes there's no real setup of how do I use this well? How do I guard myself on this? What are some of the things that I can use this as a tool, but what are some of the things that I have to be aware of? And so that's one of the things that I'm really excited about working with towards this summer with those junior hires, and just really helping them use it and not be taken advantage of, as there are all kinds of different things out there with algorithms that force ads that are not what we want in our kids' lives. And so I want them to be prepared, and so this is a really cool thing that I'm wanting to pursue, and hoping that it works. If anybody has any curriculum that they've already worked through, I would love to see some of that.
Yeah, something Stephen and I were talking about just the other day is we don't know how many camps actually do track specific for junior hires. It doesn't have to be a whole camp, so our junior high track is just the morning of our teen facility. We were having a good time talking about that, and kind of what that track or that it feels like is we teach them something that they can do at home, and then we teach them some form of etiquette as well throughout the week. So it's not just like a 1 hour. They get every morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they get some type of competition or some type of communication of this is etiquette or this is something that you can use. So the guys did electrical this summer? No, they did woodworking this summer.
No, this last year was shop.
Yeah, so, and we like to just teach them how to use a power tool or what wires actually do and how do they hurt, type of a thing. So it's
We try to stay away the how do they hurt.
Yeah, we do try. We kind of have to teach it, but without the pain.
Here, try this, kid.
Don't put these together on your finger. And so it's we've seen some really good fruit from it as kids come back year after year. Hey, I actually helped my dad with electrical in the house. Or I don't have a dad at home and I help my mom with, a number of different outlets and things like that. So we've seen some good interaction as well as parents being thankful about the etiquette side of life as well. Mine is something that we don't really have many golf courses around here, and I know most camps, when their speakers or their sponsors come, like they spend like an afternoon going to the golf course. Do you guys do that? Go to the golf course?
I'm not a golfer.
No, I love golf, but
I'm
we're
not
we're like a sand trap, as all we are out here. And so in a project, and you might hear Stephen mentioned it, we have something that is bigger, lots bigger than the homestead, it's called the Toy Box, and it's pretty much the mag shop of program activities. We're working on convincing the board it's worth it right now, but in that we'd love a room that is virtual golf. That would be, I wouldn't have to travel anywhere. I could just download Pebble Beach and go and golf Pebble Beach in a room all by myself. And that would be fun. But also we know that would be an activity that most men or ladies or young men, whoever it might be that are interested in golf, you don't really get the opportunity, but like once or twice when you go to Dick's Sporting Goods and you get to try out a club, that's the only time you really get to hit into a screen and see how far that went or what happened. They can be fairly pricey, but the experience of it is a ton of fun. So that's on my list here. You guys,
I mean, I'll bring us back from virtual reality to actual reality based on the cost of that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about something we can afford now.
Yeah. God has deep pockets.
That's right. That's right.
That, and I just wanted to see Mr. Sam swing a golf club. So that's kind of my selfish desire there. So that's on my list as some things that we could afford and have for 10 years, and over 10 years it becomes worth it. Kind of like laser tag and things like that. That price looks very daunting at the beginning, but when you have it for 10, 12, 15 years, it averages out to a good activity.
Yeah. Would you charge for that?
We don't really charge for anything. So when they pay for camp, they get a number of activities in their cost of camp. So it's all in all-in-one pricing for us. But I'm sure if that would certainly be if you do you pay for that activity style of camp, my guess is that you're going to want to charge for it because you'll have clubs get broken and a variety of different things you'll need to save up for. So
one big ticket item. When I was thinking about this session, I was like, all right, something small, something medium, something large, and one thing large I'd love to do, and this is things that we want to try, but obviously money is a factor. I don't know have you guys seen those laser mazes? Have you been to some of those? Basically it's a small room that has all these lasers inside, and it's a timed thing. So you're navigating through this, and there's like sensors on the wall you have to hit. And you're trying to go through this obstacle course of lasers. If you break a laser, it adds your time, and you just try to compete. And then it's usually connected to like some program that allows you to see your score compared to everyone else's. And then everyone on the outside of that room can see you. There's a video camera live feed, and I experienced one Mackinac City. We usually take our summer staff there and love on them a little bit. And there was one there, and every year our guys would go in there and just do it over and over and over again until they had the high score. And then every year that company put up a banner. And so it had our guys at the top every year for like 5 years straight. But that, I started doing the research. It's $30,000, to do something like that. But that'd be really cool. That's like a dream, to have something like that.
Is that like a one and done? Like you set it up once and you have to reconstruct, or is it you can reconstruct, reconfigure while it's going?
I mean, I think it depends on the company. I mean, it's so precise because it's lasers, and sensors and all of that, I think in my research, which isn't really deep, I've been looking at trying to get quotes and working with 4 or 5 different companies right now. Most of them would have to come in and install it for you, or give you all the equipment and really fine tune it. But it's something that kids would do over and over and over again. So they have the option to like charge for it, with like a coin or a dollar bill thing, and so it would generate income potentially if that's something that fits within your camp's philosophy.
Isaac,
Sure. Another struggle I think we all have is having efficient just activities, activity times, not just games. I mean, we can all look up games and come up with games and use our past favorite games, and because you can set them up and tear them down. One activity that I've considered for a couple years and haven't really done the research in, but looking at it a little more seriously now, is backyard or outdoor bowling. I've seen that before where you can construct it just out of decking board, and put it down there. You have your lanes down there, pins at the end. And in order to make it both junior and teen friendly, I would do 2 things to adjust it, just in my thinking through. One, the novelty. I think some of the areas you live in have this all over, but not many. But the novelty of making it duck pin bowling instead of regular bowling. The balls are a lot smaller and they're not heavy. I think are they solid wood essentially? Is that what they are? And the pins are smaller, which means you could make the lanes smaller and maybe make a few next to each other. And then in order to reduce the footprint and the construction cost, if you put turf on the lane, that would slow it down, but therefore mean you wouldn't have to have as long of a lane, and so just kind of thinking through, again, maybe not, but just trying to think through, what would be some different ways I could configure that. And I haven't done any cost estimates or anything like that, or looked on eBay for duck pin. You can get bowling pins anywhere. They recycle those all the time, but I don't have a duck pin bowling alley near me. But but that I think that would be cool. Something to be able to put out there and and be potentially, if you made it small enough because of that, portable enough to get out of the weather in the winter.
we have something similar to that here at camp. I don't know if anybody's gone into our game room. We have something called Corn Bowl. I think the website's cornbowlusa.com or something like that. And it is a cornhole, like a board, but it's got magnets in it and it's got duck pin bowling pins. And they just set up and it's all magnetized so they don't like wobble. You can have it on uneven ground even. And you are throwing bean bags. So it's doesn't have the hole in the board. It just has bowling pins. Those duck pin bowling pins. I think it's $200 for a set, and it's not a bad thing. We've learned that if we have it in as a fellowship area activity, you'll have a number of people that will throw the bag as hard as they can, like they want to see like everything explode. And so we've replaced a couple of the pins, but it hasn't been too much. And it was a company that was really they worked well with us. They gave us a discount and things like that. So corn bowl would be something maybe without the bowling or without the large construction side that you can get. It's cornhole and bowling kind of
Hence
together.
Corn Bowl.
Hence, really ingenuity on their name
that's amazing.
there.
The other thing to look at there is kind of an in-between size there is a lot of the kind of all-in-one rec places where they have bowling alleys and climbing walls and things like that. A lot of them have mini bowling, and so it's bigger than the duck pin, but it's smaller than regular bowling. And I would believe that they have to cycle out their pins just like they do the other ones. and so that might be a resource for finding ones that are used.
All right, Steven.
One of the things that I'm constantly working on is reusing some of the things that we have, but in a different purpose. So we built the livery stable out here, which is a racquetball size room. And each summer we try and come up with a different way to use that. And the one that I'm excited about that we're gonna try this year is we're turning it into a mini soccer. And so I was down in the San Diego area, and they have tournaments of like 5-on-5, 3-on-3, and I was really intrigued by it. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually make goals, and we have AstroTurf that we got. It's used AstroTurf, so we got it really cheap comparatively of buying it new, because athletic fields will have it ripped up and they put new down. So we got that for a theme, and we're reusing that, but we're gonna be setting up our livery stable for like a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 tournament. And I'm really excited about how that's gonna work out. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out though, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited to turn the livery stable into a soccer arena. So I can't wait to play with summer staff as well as campers. So my second one, I'm gonna go again, another big one. I think you can get this for just under 10,000, around 10,000, 10 to 12. But it's a cable tow or a wake winch. If you don't know what either of those are, it's in essence something that you set up across your lake. This is something Steven loves. And so it's in essence, you don't need a boat to do boating type activities. So you just need it. In essence, you buy a motor that pulls you to and from each pole across the lake, and you can do skis or wakeboard or a number of different things. So the cheapest we found it was 10,000 with. That was just the motor and everything there. So go ahead.
So
Yeah,
that
you're
one,
super
yeah,
excited about it.
I'm ready to
Yeah.
go. So that one, the tow that he's talking about, that's actually one that has towers, and it goes. You can set it up in different configurations. But the wake winch, which he also mentioned, that's actually a fairly newer concept. And that one it's a winch setup that, so if you think for a vehicle, pulling a stuck vehicle out, they have them that they have made for people that do snowboarding and skimboarding and various water activities. But that you can get for around, well, a really nice one is just over $1,000, but you can get them all the way down the spectrum. But just to give a little bit of an idea, I used one of those with a kneeboard in a jetty, and we went about 100 or 200 feet was the rope that was on it. And so it was a fun ride. Everybody was having fun watching it. And then I've used it with a stand-up paddleboard with my girls on the stand-up paddleboard with me as well. So it can pull quite a bit, and you have a throttle on it, so you can adjust speed and things of that nature. Yeah, just got it. But it does have a lot of different flexibility with it on whether you use a tube, a kneeboard, water skis, all kinds of different things. But you have to have the space with the water. So
Yeah, if you have water and you have open space and it's just like, oh, this is swimming or this is this or that, we've been looking into those because we want to add, we don't want our lake to be boring, is really what we are looking after. So that to add an event to your lake is always exciting. I'm going to open it up to our audience to see if you have any questions about anything or concerns, or don't try this. It was the worst investment of our lives.
Or ideas, because I have a blank notepad up here to get some more.
Yes, Matt.
Have you guys tried adding, it's more for your craft shop, but have any of you tried adding tie-dye shirt stations or anything like that?
We do it as a junior craft every 3 years, I think. 3 or 4. Bodie's looking right at me. I think it's 3 years. And so we have done it. It is a messy event, as well as you'll use a lot more dye than you normally would if you did it with adults.
One of the things that we tried that it turned out really cool, but was hard to do on that same concept. We actually did spray paint dye. So it's spray paint, but you treat it like a tie-dye shirt, and you can put stencils out and spray paint it. But then the way you twist the shirt works very similar to the way that you tie-dye as well. The hard part is you typically have to run all of the spray paint because not that they were being abusive with the paint, but they just don't know how to use it, so you clog up and things like that. But they came out with really cool shirts, and then you have every variety of spray paint that you have you can use on the shirts.
With that, have you done anything with like hoodies?
I haven't done anything with hoodies. I've done long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, shorts, but the hard part is just making sure some of the hoodies come with a coating on them that doesn't allow them to absorb things as well. And so that's where I would have to kind of figure out some of that. And then you guys do a sun dye?
Yeah, sun dye as well, and that's just the sun actually, I guess, makes the color stay. And so what you do is you color your shirt and then you put things over it, and whatever is covering it doesn't actually turn into color. It just kind of dries out and doesn't turn into color. That's just you making stencils for kids there. So I think one that, I don't know, how many of you tried the bleaching your shirts with like it's kind of like you put a sticker down or a vinyl sticker, and then you spray it with bleach, or if you want a hard white, you pour bleach on it. Has anybody tried that? Nobody. I am very intrigued into that. We don't wear very many dark shirts around here. That's probably what has kept me from doing it. But a vinyl sticker, and then have a spray bottle of bleach and spray it, and then remove the sticker. I've seen a number of camps do that as like their staff shirt. So every staff shirt looks the same, but they're also quite unique with how they chose to do the bleach on it. So t-shirt ideas, we could go nuts with that. So.
And one thing about this format versus a round table, obviously not everyone's sharing ideas, but I mean, what will be key, like if someone heard his question, be like, oh, I've got a cool junior craft idea. Please network after this, because
Corner him.
These are not the 4 authoritative voices on program activities. So please connect afterwards too if you hear something like that.
Phil.
I think the hydro dipping concept is pretty cool. I've not done that yet. Just recently watched some YouTube videos on that. Has anybody done that?
So, hydro dipping, you can do very different things. So you can actually buy the sheets that have patterns and things like that. But there again, you can do a lot of hydro dipping with spray paint as well. So the tumblers and a lot of your
bottles or
even doing it as a craft where you get the smooth river stones from like your big box store. You can dip those and make really cool different things. There's a lot of videos on how to do those at home, and it works. It's really messy, but it works pretty well.
I'm kind of interested in hearing things that you spent gobs of money on and you realized that it was a bad idea.
Steven,
Hey. So I want to. It wasn't gobs of money. It was a good investment though. Yeah. Hey, easy there.
Hey, answer your question.
Taco cat good. No. So we tried RC cars, and we worked on them for about 3 months before we got them, doing a lot of the research behind them, and we got a really good product, and it worked really well. But what we didn't account for, we knew it was going to be warm, but in the summer we didn't realize how much of an effect it was going to have on those RC cars. And so if you walk out towards our lake, you'll see the RC car track that we can't really use very often because what was happening was the heat was causing issues with the servos, causing issues with the
battery packs.
The battery packs.
It was a fantastic activity,
It was.
but the Lord has given us heat.
Yeah. So we actually sold off most of our RC cars, and we have just a few that we use during this time of the year for some of our activity or our groups that come, but not in the same venue. Now I know there's a camp that's here that uses the exact same cars as us, and it works awesome. But they're not dealing with the same environment that we are.
Yeah. So as much as a failed activity in our minds, just because of our heat, I would recommend it to
Yes.
to a ton of people. As long as if you buy cheap RC cars, you're gonna hate it. But if you what were those around $200?
No, we had 4-wheel drive ones, and so they were just over between $400 and $500 piece. They're great. I would recommend that vehicle again.
Yeah,
with
when we
some
first bought them, I
modifications.
tried to break them,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't break at all. And that's when we realized we could buy 2 more, and it would be a viable activity. So
Did you have to maintain them? Did you ever have to fix them? What's that like?
So for us, I had to maintain them quite a bit because of the environment. Now, some of the folks that have them, I know folks that actually race the same ones, and they have a little list of what they are maintaining. The maintenance on them is pretty easy because it's just a grease. You grease them, make sure they're clean, and for the most part, that's all you have to do until something breaks. What we were running into was the servos were not only stripping out the gears, but they had a flaw with the fuse. But there are different companies that have those, but we were switching out gears inside, so we replaced our plastic ones. You can buy them now. They have them with metal gearing. And then the batteries are not cheap, but the LiPo batteries are the way to go. But for us, when the heat expands it, you have to dispose of it correctly, and you have to buy new batteries, and that's not fun. But they're yeah, not fun at all. But they're actually pretty easy to fix yourself, even if you don't have a whole lot of background in them. There's a lot of videos out there, but they're built pretty straightforward in being able to work on them if you're keeping them relatively stock.
yeah, so we upgraded like plastic parts that we knew, like plastic shocks we upgraded, and a couple other things that we knew we were going to use and abuse. And plastic gets brittle out here to metal, but those weren't. It wasn't even like an expensive upgrade. It was fairly cost effective for how long it was going to last. Yeah, Mara?
Something we were looking into, because we were going to do RC cars, is a toy called Sphero, and it's a ball remote control. And if you have an indoor space, you can use, we were going to do tape and blacklight and use it inside because they light up. And it's essentially that concept of RC cars, because you can do multiple, but it would just be a dark light race type environment.
What kind of cost?
About $40 for the cheaper ones. You can get them on Amazon. Don't know a whole lot. I haven't tested one out, but tutorials and that look pretty neat. And I know they have different levels of them. It's just called Sphero.
And one of the things, if you're doing anything RC, like he said, you're wanting to make sure you get good quality, but you also want to make sure that they are compatible with each other. So we got a couple RC boats to try, but they were all on the same frequency, and so you couldn't run 2 at a time. Some of those RC cars and things have 3 channels. A lot of the higher quality ones, you just pair it with the controller, and there's no crossover.
But to answer your question, I don't think that we've every big event we've really spent money on, we've always bought in a small sample size to test it. So this was one that we thought would work because we tested it all throughout the spring, and then when summer hit, we realized our temperatures, and then we were struggling with them. So I don't know how many times we've spent a bundle of money on something and truly regretted it. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah. So yeah, Mike.
Who's the other camp that does that?
They were here,
Success.
right?
Yeah. I'll have
Anybody
to
in here?
Whoever you are, contact Mike Herbster at Southland Christian.
I'll get with you.
I'm just curious because that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
We
Go
had
ahead.
for a couple of years.
I know the Wilds has RC. They use it.
All right. Any other comments here? I have more things on my list. I'm sure these guys do, so we might jump right back in.
Over here.
Over here? Yeah.
Something we were looking at, a little cheaper than your golf activity, but kind of for sponsors. We were looking at soccer golf, and a lot of the sponsors enjoy putting more. So basically the concept of a practice green with concrete instead, so you could get contour that was always consistent. You didn't have to maintain a lawn or grass area. And then flagging numbers across it in different areas, so you could play like mini golf where you're hitting from hole to hole, basically a course, but you could build into the exterior walls obstacles or things you have to rebound off to go to like hole number 2. So instead of having multiple holes for mini golf, you'd have a large practice green type area where if you just want to putt, you could do that, or if you wanted to play it with a game with a couple people. With construction costs, depends on what your concrete guy will give it to you for.
Or how big you want to make it.
Now, have you done the soccer golf yet?
Not done soccer golf, but really looked into installing it.
So we went with a version that we made, and so we can show you up by the field. But what we did was we had a whole bunch of washer drums donated to us, but they're actually the right size for soccer golf, and so they're actually on our field buried. They have a mat over them, and so
if you got some extra washers around,
but people are trying to get rid of those. So.
yeah, they actually are.
We did that, but we had extra, like the black corrugated drain tube. It was slightly undersized from a standard, but it was easy to dig a hole, sink them in, put gravel in the bottom. And since they were a little bit smaller, we went with just number 4 size soccer balls, and proportionally it's the same. And it works well.
Do kids like that?
So what we found, you can chime in here too, but what we found for us is if there is a leader that is running it, it's awesome. But if it's a free time activity and they have to try and figure it out, it's a dud.
It's a great cabin time activity for ours. You know, the counselors will lead them through it, and it's always a blast that way. But you're right, they're not going to necessarily go traipsing to all. We have 9 holes, you know,
we did the same
on their own per se.
Is that the same thing is true for like disc golf? Do you find that same thing true for disc golf?
For us, they don't walk in the heat, so it didn't work for us. But
Yeah, our disc golf has become that was purchased and put in before I was full time, because our prior guy was really into disc golf. It has become actually more popular with just adult retreats now, guys who actually do disc golf. It's not as much for the campers, but again, we encourage the teen counselors to take them at a cabin time, just to at least, it doesn't have to be all 9 holes. Again, we only have 9 of that too. But it provides value, but to do it right, it costs some money.
We have more people coming off campus asking about using our disc golf course. You know, it's like, hey, do you guys have one? Can I play it? Sure. Here's the map. You know, but yeah, our campers don't really utilize it that much.
To add to that disc golf, one of the camps that I visited has like a 9-hole disc golf throughout their property, and each hole is sponsored by a church that goes there, so that's an easy way for them to raise money. And I think they also, it's kind of like that Adopt a Highway, they take care of that area as well, so they upkeep it.
I mean, you can use that area for different things. I mean, if you watch like Dude Perfect's all sports golf battle, I mean, you can do stuff like that kind of renews the interest in the course without actually playing just disc golf, and you can have a lot of fun with it for sure.
I don't know how many Frisbees I've gotten stuck on top of Southland's buildings in the years. Quite a few.
Not as many as me.
Probably not. I think every time I was at Southland, I think I Frisbee golfed twice a day or maybe even 3 times a day with guys. It was like a perfect one-on-one activity. So that's why I like Frisbee. I'm terrible at it. I think that human foosball at Southland has collected so many Frisbees. So
There's a culture of Frisbee golf, disc golf people out there, and I was working on hiring this guy once to join our staff, and he was really big into it, so much so that he would set up Frisbee golf fundraisers, almost like a 5K event, but it was a Frisbee golf. He was able to set one up in the Dallas Cowboys stadium throughout it, and he knows the industry and stuff, and I'm like, man, you know, that would be kind of neat to do, you know, to get someone to come in and do that. Because you have fundraisers for 5Ks, but disc golf. But that's not me. I don't like disc golf at all. So,
It'd be neat to
hey,
throw
if
one
it's a
straight.
fundraiser.
Hey, Phil.
Phil? Yeah.
I haven't tried this, but there is a card game that you can play while playing disc golf, which forces the other players to play in a certain way.
Huh.
Like you have to throw your next one through your legs backwards, or there's a.
Oh, I need that. I need that deck.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Might even the playing field.
It may be called Ripped Revenge.
Ripped Revenge?
I kind of try to look it up here, but RIPT Revenge, new cards, new rules, new attitude, disc golf card game. I haven't used it though, so I can't really vouch for it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we're gonna get rolling on some of the other ideas we have up here. We have just a few more minutes, so guys, if you want to share two quickly, see if we can get through some of them. Because I'm looking at Isaac's list and it's just ridiculously long.
That's because I'm writing all that.
I
down.
Go ahead.
So I'll just kind of, rapid fire some things. We try to do some things in the winter, but we don't have a lot of outdoor activities, and we can't be guaranteed snow, even though we're in Ohio. It's sometimes just cold and hard ground. So I've thought about, for that, to try to incorporate some winter retreat activities to do your own portable ice rink, because it does get cold enough. And then, our lakes freeze over at times. We have 8 to 10 inches right now, but that's not every year. And you could twist an ankle in a couple inches of ice versus going through the ice on a lake. So, to be able to do that for some activities. Also, they always ask, do you have a tubing hill? No, we don't. But to be able, like I said before, to have double duty, to build kind of a slide hill. I know a lot of people have different forms of slides, but that's not something we have. But to use a little bit of an incline we have, build up, again, get those, the black corrugated tubes to go down. We could do them on carts with casters on them to make them even faster in the summer. Or if you find an old RV type park that has like the old the gentle water slide, down the hill into their lake, see if someone's getting rid of that and repurpose that as well. Yeah, that's all. I'll stop with that.
Stephen?
One of the things that we're working towards is actually a rotation of how we split teams. So for a long time, we've done just 2 different teams, and I know many people have, this is how we do teams every summer. It's this way, and there's some good things to that. You get to hype those team colors or whatever, but one of the things that we're looking at doing is actually having a rotation of how those teams are split. So this is the first year we're going with 3 teams, and in over 16 years, I think. And so doing that, and then doing ones where it is cabin centric, so each cabin is their team. And so we're working on that type of rotation. I'm curious how it's going to work out. We think we have some of those things figured out, but
who knows if it'll work?
Yeah.
I think is one of the titles to this session. So
yeah. And then some of you got to do a little bit of the tour with our sound trailer. I have about a 3-phase idea for what our sound trailer will become, and I'm looking forward to how it'll be used. We've already proved concept of it being extremely helpful for our games and being mobile, and then the end goal, it'll be basically our mobile scoreboard, it'll be our sign-ups, it'll be a platform for some of the camps that we're trying to do that are away from a building. We'll have everything set, so a speaker, we can just pull it in, and the speaker has everything that he needs to be able to speak to a group away from this building as well. So those are a couple.
yeah, Eric.
One idea that we just came up with, I always enjoy activities that people can do during the free time on their own. without the supervision or, and it's in the supervised area. We have on our campus a lot of just boulders, rocks, that are just landscape, and I think now that I've been there a couple of years at Northland, it's for the snow. So you could tell where the corners are, when you're plowing, you could, oh yeah, I need to turn there. But anyways, I was thinking like, man, it'd be kind of cool there's so many of them around, they're scattered. If I could put a clue on the side of it and, that points them to the direction of another one, maybe it's coordinates, maybe it's, who knows what, and I was talking to Mariah about some of this. He's like, yeah, you could get those keychains even with like the black light keychains and paint on there too. So if I gave like a little bag of supplies that people can check out with like a compass, that black light keychain, and maybe a couple other things, and give them a little map, and then they have to go from boulder to boulder, and then eventually each boulder gives them a clue. And, it's timed. If they come back, maybe they get a prize or something like that. But it just gets them around our campus, gives them an adventure. They don't know where it's taking them. And, it's just sense of discovery, I guess, So that's something that I told one of the program guys, and his eyes lit up, and so I'm like, good, it's done. So because he's all over it.
Yeah.
Another thing, this is more... traditionally, we take away cell phones and all that stuff, right? Electronics, no electronics, all of that, and I'm thinking through some of this. I'm losing some campers because of that, and some churches because of that, some groups because of that, and it's interesting to me. But I've always liked going to like a theme park, and they have the interactive maps, and you could click on activities and, have announcements there, get stuff like that. But I thought, wow, wouldn't it be neat to have like an app or something that can do that interactive map that maybe has a game involved in it, throughout the week. But then maybe it's associated, it's potentially even bigger than that, and it's kind of a hub for them. But then I was thinking like, I don't want them on social media. I don't want them using their phones, so how do you do that? Then I'm like, well, I know there's apps that can like block other apps. You have to do permissions and stuff like that. So maybe we can lock down their entire phone except for that. So I don't know, but just sometimes I talking to pastors or talking to group leaders about that, or teenagers. Why are you taking away my phone? I mean, I have parents that are telling their kids, hey, don't tell your counselor you have a phone. So, but I mean, it's still part of our. We want a distraction-free environment, and that brings in too many distractions. So how to balance that? But that's something that I've been trying to process lately.
I think it's interesting right now as program people, we're really having to try and figure out that balance across the board of what do we need to actually incorporate to help with that generation and some of the different things that is now normal for them, but at the same time we still have to keep it that camp is different than at home. And so I'm interested in if anyone has some of those ideas. One of the things that we talked about was a gaming room. You want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so we talked about it. We ended up deciding not to, but we were going to see if we can get a number of gaming PCs set up in a room in which they do it's kind of like what they would do at home, but probably a bit more propped out there, and they would play games in the same room with friends or people that like the same game. So we wouldn't do anything too crazy. At the game Among Us has, I guess it came up pretty much during COVID, or got popular during COVID. It's pretty much Mafia. And so to play that with a group of people where you're actually able to talk and not like text chat that game, as well as like Minecraft, Rocket League, which is like soccer with RC cars, and a few other games that they just get to play with the people in there. Maybe I'm 30, so I'm sure there's a few people in this room that have had Halo parties in their younger years, or if I would like to go back, Atari parties. Ooh, did I go too far? Did I go too far? Give me the joystick. No.
Long party.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, we have used video games in a way of fellowship. I was telling somebody the other day that the item that gets the most fellowship for me throughout, I don't know, the past 10 years has been my Nintendo GameCube. I play Super Smash Brothers with summer staff. They cannot beat, no, they can beat me. But it's just one of those fun things in which video games actually can bring people together depending on the video game. And to be able to teach, hey, like video games shouldn't be your life, but you can actually use it as a tool of fellowship, as discipleship and mentoring, and to be able to have conversations and make memories together, not just in your own little world playing your own one-player game. So it was on the table for this summer, but it kind of got nixed. But maybe in the future. And there's plenty of companies that will donate just about everything you need: monitor, keyboard, CPU, mouse, headphones, chairs. Like they'll just let you use it for a couple years and say, oh, we'll take that back after a while. And they're just looking for a tax refund or something like that. So my last two here, before we'll open it up for just a few moments, I'll share one that I've, ever since I think it was at Camp Hume up north of here, the Fresno area, they have this awesome fort. We didn't even get to go inside or anything, but ever since I've wanted to build a water fort at the lake that has water cannons, cargo nets to climb up. Probably where our lake is most deficient is the people who hate swimming or don't like swimming, but they enjoy the setting of a beach. Not that our setting is a beach feel, but the inactive lake people, we don't really have anything for them, and we've worked to get that up. But I know for most of you, if there are water guns that could shoot swimmers, you would not swim and you'd just be shooting swimmers with the water gun. I know the Wilds, I don't know if it still works, but they had that water gun or two that as the people going down the lazy river on inner tubes, and you could just smoke them with water on those water cannons, and you just get them soaked, and they're trying to dry off as they're near the end, type of a thing. So a bunch of different things there. I'd love to build a water fort. There's something simple you can buy. It's called a jungle gym. That comes into play. I'd like to construct my own, but it has a slide and a lot of different events that can just, it's in essence a raft with a ton of activities on it. So that's called a jungle gym. And then my last one, we do escape rooms. I'm actually going to throw it over to Phil Drake here in a second. But we do escape rooms, but I'd love to improve our escape rooms to do something competitive. So there are a few of you that were possibly in the tour that we just had of the escape rooms. And the way you're using an old cabin, and it's two identical cabins connected in one building. And I'd love to do competitive where you have two groups that go through and they're trying to race each other, kind of like an Indiana Jones type feel, to open up the safe that is the same compartment to get whatever they're trying to get. So it's not necessary, I could have a 30-minute escape room, but it's more of a competition of who can solve those puzzles faster, get through those things faster to open up that safe. If they need a hint, that item might be missing from their side of the safe until there's a penalty until they can grab it out there. But I'd love to level up our escape rooms to be more, not just an escape room, which escape rooms are fun events. We'll keep doing them. We have two ministry bound girls that are working really hard at turning in our caboose into an escape room here in the next month or so. We love escape rooms, but to kind of give a different feel, a bit of a competitive, like we're going to beat this cabin, or a couples retreat comes and it's a group of couples against another group of couples. If you don't have an escape room, my guess is you can buy one of Mount Lusan's escape rooms for, what is it, $100? He'll give it to you. After that, we have one from them, and it's probably under $500 to get everything set up. And so I probably shared a $30,000-$40,000 one, but now I'm sharing like a $500 one. Yeah. And it has been a ton of fun. We'll do a 2-year rotation for us. I don't know what your guys' rotation is, but we do a 2-year rotation. So we're about to like kind of slowly expire the ones we have here soon. So I'll turn it over to Phil because he's the guy I go to when I have questions about escape rooms. So
What did you want me to say?
Kind of what? Yeah. So, what is your kind of how quickly do you retire your escape rooms? And then from start to finish, how long does it take you to plan, as well as like a cost number for each one? You've done 4, 5?
We're on our third one right
Third,
now.
okay.
Yeah. So the playability is about 2 years. However, so I built one in our room. It's kind of a trapped inside the Monopoly jail board game themed, and it was so customized to the room that was in. I just cannot bring myself to tear it out, because I can't give it to another camp or something. It's just worthless once I tear it out. It's so customized. So I left it and I was like, all right, but we need another escape room. So I found another place on property and we built our second one. Dylan and I built, and that, I don't know how many hours, a lot of hours, because we're trying to make it an immersive experience. You know, it's not just a cheapo thing. And we have literally had people that will go through and go, that was better than any escape room I've ever been in, or as comparable as any escape room. So I think with some thought and planning and effort and a lot of creativity in the painting and whatever else, that you can make it. It doesn't have to have a ton of tech. Our last one doesn't have any tech in it at all.
Yeah.
So no digital stuff. All that stuff just breaks, you know, and you have to constantly keep up with that. But the creativity as a part of that. I'm on a low budget just like anybody else is, so we're trying to build a room in less than $500. So.
Yeah.
Well, what are you giving out free, Phil?
Our
Advice.
so their time, Dr. B's time
Yeah.
lab, I have on disc. I can give to anybody that needs that.
I like one.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
And your Dr. Beast time lab was in like a 8x12 room, or a little bit bigger than that?
Ours was tiny,
Yeah.
and yours is much bigger than ours
Yes.
was, but.
So you don't need a ton of, like, you could probably do it in a small storage room.
Ours was 8x16, I think.
Yeah. Cool. So, all right, we'll open it up for about a minute. Mr. Sam's back there giving me eyes, and they're not the nice kind. So Mike?
Does anybody have a contact for old pool slides, like from water parks or anything like that?
So I'm writing
we need
it
a
down
pool
too.
slide. I was just curious if anybody had ever done work with anything like that.
I mean, we've had pool slides donated to us, but we needed an engineer in order to put it up. And
I can make a call. We have a contact that does all the Disney resorts. He tries to get them to us. We had one that we were trying to get to denial, and it just fell apart. The problem with Disney is they're going to squeeze every buck, so they sell it used. He's trying to get it donated. I'll put out a note, though, to tell him.
We're willing to configure it, so
Sure.
make it work.
Yeah.
anybody else? Yes.
For your boulder hunt thingamajig, sometimes we'll take a map of our camp and put an X on it and bury like a bowl of candy or something, and then cut it up into lots of small pieces and put a Bible verse on the back of each piece. And so you give the campers the first Bible verse, and it says, 1 Kings 7:8 or something, and it says, and on the porch, or on Solomon's porch, and they have to go to the porch, and then they find the next clue. And then that one has a Bible verse that says, something else. They get the letter, and they have to go to the mailbox, and they find the mailbox, and they get one. Or the dog came and did that, and they have to go find the dog. We did it on a goat once, and that didn't end well. We ended up just going to go for a very long time.
That sounds like it went perfect.
Things that we want to try.
Yeah. All right.
And we know it.
So I know we probably have a lot of ideas. We are running out of time in order for us to get to our banquet, because I know you guys want to, again, eat and have a ton of fun there. So if you have any questions, or you want to touch base with one of us or anybody else in the room, by all means do that. But we'll close this out, and hopefully you have some decent ideas here. Yeah, Mr. Stan?